You know, history is full of these moments that start out quiet, almost invisible, and then suddenly they just explode and change everything. Today, we're diving into one of those moments from the tech world. It's the story of OnPassive, a new digital platform, and how 34,000 people signed up in just a handful of hours. We're going to look at exactly what went down and what it all means.
So it all boils down to this one single number, 34,000. That's how many people decided, almost instantly, to join this new digital ecosystem called OnPassive, right after it went live. And when we say digital ecosystem, just think of a whole universe of interconnected online tools for businesses, for creators, all powered by AI.
And here's the real kicker. What makes this number so staggering? This didn't happen over weeks or even a few days. We're talking about a few hours. I mean, to put that into perspective, that's like an entire small city's worth of people popping up online in less time than it takes to go see a movie. The sheer speed and scale of it, well, that's what makes this story so wild.
So you have to ask, right? How does something like that even happen? Was this just a lucky break? Some viral marketing campaign that caught fire? Or was there something deeper going on here? That's the big question we're going to unpack. We're going to look at all the pieces, from the tech to the community that made it all possible.
Okay, let's get right into it. The story of the 34,000 hour. It all kicked off the second Ash Mufareh, the founder, flipped the switch and took the platform live. We're going to look at how that one single moment created this massive, immediate tidal wave of people.
The way it's described is just so powerful, like a river bursting its banks. This wasn't a trickle of new users, it was a flood. You had people from every walk of life, founders, artists, teachers, engineers, all pouring in from all over the globe. They were drawn in by this promise of a different kind of internet, a place where maybe, just maybe, they could be in control for once.
So how did this really happen? To get it, you have to understand it wasn't just some slick ad campaign that got people excited. Nope. The claim here is that this was a movement built on a shared vision, a meaningful idea that just resonated with a ton of people.
And this slide really nails the difference. See, most marketing is about chasing momentum, trying to jump on a trend that's already out there. But this was about creating momentum from the inside out. It was fueled by this community that believed in a common goal, an internet where you weren't just the product for some giant corporation.
And it's so important to remember that behind that big number, 34,000, are individual people. 34,000 different stories. It was the student trying to pay for school, the parent looking for a little more stability, the developer who just wanted their work to matter. The one thing they all had in common? They were all searching for a more empowering place online.
This quote from Ash Mufareh, it pretty much says it all. The focus wasn't on just hitting some growth metric. It was about building a real, sustainable community and actually providing value. And when you do that, you don't just get users who sign up. You get believers who stick around and become your biggest advocates.
Okay, so when you have this massive, sudden flood of people, the first thing you think is, how did the system not just completely crash and burn? Well, this is where we need to look under the hood at the technology that was ready and waiting for this exact moment.
A huge part of the magic was just how incredibly simple it was to join. It was just 1, 2, 3. Register your account, verify instantly with their own system, O-Verify, and boom, you were in. No complicated hoops to jump through. It was smooth, it was fast, and it was secure.
But hiding behind that simple welcome mat was some seriously powerful engineering. We're talking about a scalable cloud platform that could expand automatically to handle the load. They had AI balancing traffic in real time, so when that human floodgate opened, the system didn't even flinch. It was built for this. It was ready.
And it all comes back to this one guiding principle. Technology should be inviting, not intimidating. The whole experience was designed to be user-friendly, to remove any barriers. And by making it so easy for literally anyone to join, they threw the doors wide open, and well, 34,000 people walked right through.
So what comes next? That incredible launch? That wasn't the finish line. Not even close. It was the starting pistol for something much bigger, what the source calls a digital exodus, a mass movement of people shifting away from the old internet that's controlled by a few giants towards something new, something that empowers them.
And this is the long-term vision. It's a ripple effect. Today, one person joins and they tell 10 friends. Tomorrow, that starts to change whole communities. And in the future? Well, the idea is that this could start to change how entire nations connect and operate online. It's all about natural, organic growth.
And at the heart of this whole vision is this incredible idea of economic empowerment.
See, every new member isn't just a user. They're a potential creator, a potential entrepreneur. The platform is packed with tools for them to build their own businesses, to create their own microeconomies right inside the ecosystem. But just getting people in the door is only step one. The real work, the mission ahead, is to make sure they succeed. It's about educating them, empowering them with the right tools, and elevating them through mentorship. Because a community doesn't just thrive by getting bigger, it thrives when its people are thriving.
So the hope is that, someday, historians will look back at this moment and say, that was the day things really started to change. The day technology finally bowed to a human vision. The beginning of what they call digital unity.
The source calls this technology with a soul, something designed to serve people, not to exploit them. And that leaves us with a pretty massive question, doesn't it? What happens when that kind of faith, that kind of vision, truly meets cutting-edge innovation? Can it really compete with the giants? The story of the 34,000 hour might just be chapter 1, and it's going to be fascinating to watch how the rest of it unfolds. All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to unpack a pretty massive announcement for a global training event. And get this, it's being framed as a historic moment for all of humanity. So we're going to break down the core message, those huge promises, and really look at the structure of this transformation event to see what's actually on the table. Let's do it. Wow. Okay, so right out of the gate, the announcement sets an incredibly high bar with a statement like that. I mean, we're not just talking about a simple product launch here. The language they're using, it's aiming for a fundamental global shift in how we think. This quote, it's really our first big clue about the sheer scale of ambition we're looking at. So what is this thing really? Well, the source material is very clear. It's not a webinar. They call it a transformation event, like a masterclass that's designed to align all of us with intelligence, with automation, and this idea of abundance. Our job today is to really unpack what those big words actually mean in this specific context.
All right, so that brings us to our first major theme, transformation. According to the source, this whole thing isn't about just learning a new skill. Nope, it's about a deep, foundational shift in your mindset. The argument they make is pretty straightforward. Before anything can change on the outside, something's got to change on the inside first.
And it seems the entire training is built on two core pillars. It's actually pretty simple. On one side, you've got the mind. That's all about personal development, psychology, your philosophy. And on the other side, you've got the system. This is the tech, the automation, the actual financial tools. Now, the key here is that they're not presented as separate things. They're two sides of the same coin. Think of it like this. The mindset is the software you need to run the system's hardware.
So let's tackle that first pillar, which they're calling the visionary's philosophy. And the source material is super clear on this. You have to master the mindset first. It's positioned as the absolute foundation for everything else that follows.
And here's the heart of that philosophy, which the document attributes to Ashmufara. It's this core idea that wealth and success, they start in your mind. They're an internal state before they ever show up in your bank account. So the whole point of this part of the training is to shift people from just being a consumer in the digital world to becoming a creator.
So what does this training of the mind actually cover? Well, the source promises to reveal what it calls secrets on a few key topics. First, the psychology you need to really succeed in today's digital world. Then, how to attract abundance, not through get-rich-quick schemes, but through things like discipline and patience. And finally, how to build real influence without being manipulative, leading with integrity.
Okay, so once that philosophical foundation is in place, we move on to the second pillar, the system of abundance. This is really where the rubber meets the road, where all those abstract ideas about mindset connect with the actual tangible digital platform people are going to be using.
So this platform has a name, the Victory with Ash system. And the source material doesn't pull any punches. It calls it a digital revolution. The main idea here is that it merges automation, finance, and opportunity into one single thing. Basically what's described as a fair, transparent, and self-sustaining economy for everyone who's a part of it.
Okay, but how does it actually work? The training apparently breaks it down into 4 key areas. First up, you've got to learn the referral links. They're positioned as the real engine for your financial growth. Second, you learn to navigate the dashboards, which are full of AI-driven tools to automate the heavy lifting. Third, you're taught to embrace what they call abundance ethics, which is basically a business model where you succeed by helping other people succeed. And finally, the nitty-gritty, how to get your account activated and how the rewards are automatically distributed.
And this is where the whole narrative kind of zooms out.
The announcement makes it clear that the impact of this training and the system isn't just about individual success, not at all. It's about a massive global effect that's meant to ripple out across entire societies. So, this global impact is broken down into 4 main arenas. As you can see, the biggest piece of the pie is economic, at 40%. Then you've got social and technological impact, both coming in at 25%, and there's even a spiritual component in there. So let's take a quick look at what each of these really means.
Okay, first up, the economic promise. This is a big one. The goal here is to use the system to create real, sustainable income for people. The vision is to build this massive global network of, and this is their term, financially independent digital entrepreneurs. It really suggests a huge shift away from the typical 9-to-5 job. Next up is the social impact. The vision here is to create a new kind of global unity. It's built on the idea of collaboration and shared purpose. Something the source claims will cut across borders, race, religion, you name it. The whole thing is centered on this idea of growing together.
Then we have the technological promise, and this is all about AI. The idea is to completely reframe our relationship with artificial intelligence. Instead of being afraid of it, the training is supposed to teach people how to partner with AI, to work alongside it in a future that they say will be built on trust.
And finally, that spiritual component we mentioned. This really ties everything together. It's about inspiring a deeper sense of purpose, of gratitude, and of service. The core message here is pretty powerful, that just making money, on its own, is ultimately meaningless. It has to be for something more.
So, after laying out the philosophy, the system, and this massive global impact, the announcement wraps up with a very direct call to action. This is the specific invitation they're giving to their followers, who the text calls founders.
In this quote, this really boils the whole message down to its essence. The focus is intentionally shifted away from what you're going to get, the material stuff, and put squarely on who you're going to become. And that personal transformation, well, that's what they're calling the real victory.
So, for anyone who wants to be a part of this, the instructions couldn't be simpler. It's boiled down to a 3-step task. 1, show up. 2, learn deeply. And 3, act decisively. It's a really direct call to action, you know? It strips away all the complexity and puts the responsibility right on the participants' shoulders.
And that brings us to the ultimate promise, and it's a really interesting one. It draws a very clear line between just being successful and being significant. So the end goal they're presenting isn't just about making a lot of money. It's about creating a lasting, meaningful legacy.
So, where does that leave us? As we've seen, this is a powerful mix of a technological system, really ambitious financial promises, and a deeply inspirational philosophy. In the end, it really feels like the material is asking its audience to embrace a vision of the future that's built on, well, a foundation of belief first and foremost. Which brings us to that final question on the screen.
You know, in our digital lives, trust is, well, it's everything, right? But how do you actually establish it? Today, we're going to dive into a new way of thinking about online verification, one that's really aiming to redefine digital trust. And it all starts with one simple but absolutely crucial question. In our digital world, this question is the whole ball game. Trust has seriously become the most valuable currency we have. Before you connect with someone, before you make a transaction, before you share anything, you have to know the answer. And let's be honest, for years, answering that question has been a total nightmare. We've all been there. The tedious paperwork, the endless waiting, and the frustrating human errors. It felt less like a security measure and a lot more like a burden. This slide pretty much nails the big shift we're talking about. We're moving from that clunky, old world of paperwork and just waiting around to a process that's designed to be quick, intelligent, and secure. This new approach, pioneered by OnPassive, is all about getting rid of that friction we've all come to know and hate. So where does this shift come from? It's all driven by a core philosophy from OnPassive's founder, Ash Mufareh. The simple idea that technology should exist to serve us, not to make our lives more complicated. This single principle, this is the foundation for the entire OnPassive ecosystem. It's all about putting people first, prioritizing understanding, and then designing technology to follow that lead, not the other way around. And that philosophy inspires this question right here. What if we could just strip away all that friction? What if we could transform verification from a headache into a moment of assurance, of peace of mind? Yeah, that's the thought that led directly to the solution. And at the very heart of this transformation is a tool called O-Verify. It's designed to be that exact point where simplicity and rock-solid security finally meet. So what is O-Verify? It's OwnPassive's Know Your Customer System, or what they call OKYC. And its design is laser-focused on three key things: automation, intelligence, and just plain user convenience. The user experience is designed to be ridiculously straightforward. You log in, then powerful AI algorithms work in the background to verify who you are in seconds. And just like that, your identity is secured. It all just happens seamlessly. And the result? All of that old frustration just vanishes. It's replaced by a smooth, transparent process that actually works for you, not against you. It's authentication powered by some seriously brilliant AI. But just because it's simple doesn't mean it's not secure. No way. Behind the scenes, there's a whole suite of incredible tech at work. We're talking advanced AI algorithms, multi-layer encryption to protect your data, and AI facial recognition for biometric confirmation. All of it working in real time to make sure the process is both effortless and totally locked down. Okay, now this is where things get even more powerful. See, O-Verify isn't just some standalone feature. It's the key that unlocks confidence across the entire integrated OwnPassive world. Think about this for a second. In the past, every new platform meant you had to go through the whole verification process all over again. But here, the vision is totally different. You only have to prove who you are one time. And that single act of verification makes you a trusted user across the entire ecosystem. It's like having a universal digital passport, secured once and then accepted everywhere within the OwnPassive network. And this isn't just a theory, it's how it actually works. Your verified identity integrates seamlessly across all these platforms. Whether it's OMail and OConnect for communications, OWallet for your finances, or OTracker for analytics, you're already good to go. So what does this actually mean for you? It means you can have complete confidence. It means every transaction is legitimate, every conversation you have is safe, and you know for a fact that every partnership is with a real, verified person or business. That's a huge deal. You know, an approach like this really has the potential to set a new global standard. It moves way beyond just convenience and aims for something much bigger: empowerment through trust. And this is a really crucial point. The impact here is bigger than just technology. When you simplify access like this, you're fundamentally changing who gets to participate in the digital world. It's actually a humanitarian effort. I mean, just look at what this unlocks. This system is designed to adapt to anyone, anywhere. It becomes a bridge for people who were previously left out, the unbanked and the unconnected. It gives them a key to the global digital economy, promoting truly fair opportunities for everyone. And this is the ultimate takeaway. True innovation isn't about adding more complexity. It's about making complex things work simply for everyone. In today's world, that kind of simplicity isn't a weakness. It's the ultimate strength. So we end with this question. This system is about way more than just verifying an account. It's about laying the groundwork for a future that's more secure, more inclusive, and more connected. It really makes you wonder, if trust becomes the default setting of our digital world, what else becomes possible? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a really interesting document, a blueprint for what it calls a global transformation training. But here's the thing, this isn't just about some online course. According to this material, this event is designed to be a truly pivotal moment in human history. Okay, let's just start with that. This is the central, and you gotta admit, incredibly bold claim of the whole document. It sets the stage right away. We're not just talking about professional development here. They're framing this as a fundamental reset for everyone. So who's the person leading this charge? The document points directly to founder Ash Mufareh, and the language they use here is so specific. This is consistently presented not as some simple webinar, but as a historic, world-changing masterclass designed to shift global consciousness. Now, before we even get to the tools or the tech, the source argues that there's a really crucial first step, and that's adopting a very specific mindset. It's a philosophy that says your internal world, your mind, comes way before any external system. You know, this taps into a powerful idea we see all over modern self-improvement. And this quote right here This really gets to the absolute core of the philosophy they attribute to Ashmufra. This one sentence sums up the entire premise, that financial success isn't something you chase on the outside. Nope, it's the result of an internal transformation that has to happen first. So what does that mental shift actually look like? Well, the document lays out these specific pillars. It's all about understanding the psychology of success in our digital world, about attracting abundance through your own discipline, and leading in a way that's ethical. The whole goal is to shift people from being just consumers to becoming global creators. And here's where the technology part comes in. The document makes a really interesting point. AI by itself is just a tool. It's empty. The real power, it argues, is only unlocked when that AI is guided by human purpose, by our ethics, and by a vision for something bigger. Okay, so you've got the mindset, you've got the philosophy, but how do you actually put it into practice? Well, that's where this digital ecosystem comes in. The mindset is the foundation, but it's designed to work inside a very specific system that the document calls Victory with Ash. And this is so crucial to understand. This isn't being presented as just a product or a set of tools. The source material defines Victory with Ash as an entirely new economic model, a self-sustaining digital economy that it claims is built on fairness and transparency, a total revolution. And this training is supposed to get very practical, very hands-on. Participants, who they call founders, are going to learn the real nuts and bolts of how to operate in this ecosystem. Everything from using referral links and AI dashboards to truly understanding the automated reward system. Now, just when you think it's all about these practical tools for you, the individual, the narrative just zooms way out. The document starts to argue that the combined actions of all its users will create this massive ripple effect, one that leads to real, tangible change across the globe. This table here breaks it down so clearly. These are the 4 key areas they claim this training will totally transform. Economically, by creating a global network of independent entrepreneurs. Socially, by creating a new kind of unity. Technologically, by building a future where we trust AI, and even spiritually, by connecting success to service. As we get to the final section of the source material, you can feel the tone start to shift. It becomes this direct, very personal call to action. It's aimed right at its core audience, this group it keeps calling the founders of the movement. This is really the emotional climax of the whole document. It's a powerful message of validation, for all those people who've been part of this ecosystem from the very beginning. It's framing this training as the huge payoff for all their patience and their belief. So in the end, the whole training is about a fundamental shift in how you look at things. The focus is pulled away from the old ideas of competition and just what you can get for yourself. Instead, it's all about collaboration, about who you become in the process, and about creating a legacy together. And this is the final thought they leave you with. It's powerful. The document concludes by positioning this whole training not as an educational event, but as the spark, the ignition point for a global movement where, as it says, technology will finally start serving humanity. So, that leaves us with this final question to think about. This document we've just walked through, it frames a digital training program as a historic, world-changing event. It blends technology, entrepreneurship, and this deep sense of personal purpose, all into one grand vision. And the fact that a message like this even exists and that it resonates with people, that's fascinating. What does it all reveal about our modern search for meaning, for community, and for success in this incredibly digital world we all live in?